Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Today, the Chief Justice of India and the Supreme Court told the central government that you better withhold the implementation of farm laws. If you don't, we will. Very interesting turn of events. Let's discuss that. My story number 2 is about social media and is about how much are we exposing ourselves in social media. Let's get right into the show.
तथाकथित किसान आंदोलित हैं और इस बात के लिए आंदोलित हैं जो किसानों के हित में बिल लाया गया है उस तीनों बिलों को निरस्त किया जाए ताकि किसानों को लाभ न मिले और इन लोगों के सामने हाथ जोड़कर खाली पेट किसान रोता रहे। तथाकथित किसानों को देश की चिंता नहीं है, देश के लोगों की चिंता भी नहीं है, क्योंकि ये तो आंदोलन क्या एक पिकनिक मना रहे हैं, वहां चिकन बिरयानी खा रहे हैं, काजू बादाम खा रहे हैं, सब प्रकार के ऐश और आराम कर रहे हैं और वेश बदल बदल करके वहां इस प्रकार से आ रहे हैं जिसमें कई आतंकवादी भी हो सकते हैं, जिसमें कोई चोर लुटेरे भी हो सकते हैं, जो किसानों के दुश्मन भी हो सकते हैं। ये सब लोग देश को बर्बाद करना चाहते हैं चिकन बिरयानी खिलाकर खाकर के। मैं समझता हूं बर्ड फ्लू फैलाने का षड्यंत्र है और मुझे पूरी आशंका है कि कुछ दिनों तक सरकार ने इसको चाहे निवेदन करके चाहे सख्ती से नहीं हटाया तो देश में बर्ड फ्लू का प्रकोप बड़ा रूप धारण कर सकता है। इसलिए मेरी प्रार्थना है केंद्र सरकार से कि इस आंदोलनकारियों को तुरंत एकत्र होने से रोकें। जहां सड़कों पर रोकर बैठे लोगों को परेशान कर रहे हैं उनको भी यहां से प्रेम से अनुनय विनय से मान जाए तो ठीक, नहीं तो सख्ती बरतें ताकि देशवासियों को बर्ड फ्लू के प्रकोप से बचाया जा सके।
I wanted you to see this 2 minutes clip which you just saw because this is the point of view of a lawmaker from the ruling government, ruling party. This is the point of view. This is his point of view. Not that what he said has any relevance to my editorial, but I still wanted you to hear lawmaker's point of view. Anyway, let's get into the subject at hand. The Chief Justice of India today said parties have placed the court in a delicate situation. We are reading reports about parties saying courts will decide. Our intention is clear. We want an amicable solution for the problem. That is why we asked you last time. Why don't you keep the laws on hold? But you keep asking for time. If you have some sense of responsibility and if you say you will withhold the implementation of law, we will form a committee to decide. We don't see why there should be an insistence that the law must be implemented at any cost. The sum and substance what the Chief Justice of India is asking is, why are you insisting that the law must be implemented at any cost? Hold on to the law. Let us form a committee. Let us form a committee and let that committee deliberate. And let there be an amicable settlement between the government and the farmers. Why are you insisting that the law should be implemented at any cost? This was also accepted and very well accepted actually by Advocate Vivek Tankha and Dushyant Dave, who were the advocates for the farmers. To this, the Solicitor General of India said, why? Q? Supposing there is a majority of farmers who believe that this farm bill is helping them to earn more money, then why should the government stop it? Just because some people are saying so, why should the government stop a proposal that could help a lot of farmers? To which the court said that there is not a single petition that has been filed in the court in support of the farm law. He said that is not the Chief Justice said there is not a single petition that has been filed. in support of the farm law. And what are you talking about, Mr. Solicitor General? What farmers and what people who support and people who are benefiting out of farm laws? What are you talking about? In fact, the Chief Justice went on to say, we don't know what consultative process you follow before the laws. Many states are up and rebellious. He said, ये क्या कैसे बनाते हो laws यार आप लोग? How do you make? What consultative process do you follow? Who do you talk to? Who do you check with? What stakeholders do you call? And how do you make laws? Because a lot of states are rebellious. They are up in arms against this law. So this was what the Chief Justice said. In fact, the court went on to say that what is the problem in keeping it in abeyance? We asked you in the last occasion, but you haven't replied. And the matter is getting worse. People are committing suicide. People are suffering in the cold, the Chief Justice of India said. You do not seem to be keeping this issue in abeyance. You do not seem to be allowing an arbitration to happen on this particular issue. People are dying. People are committing suicide. People are dying of cold. What are you doing? In fact, very interestingly, answering that gentleman who said that, these people here are just enjoying and having a picnic and all that, on the 17th of December, the same bench, Justice A.S. Bopana, V. Ramasubramaniam and Justice S.A. Bobde, the Chief Justice of India, had actually made a statement. We are of the view that at this stage that the farmers' protest should be allowed to continue without impediments. This is the Supreme Court of India saying it. And without any breach of peace either by the protester or by the police. We clarify that this court will not interfere with the protest in question. Indeed, the right to protest is part of the fundamental right and can, as a matter of fact, be exercised subject to public order. There can certainly be no impediments in the exercise of such rights as long as it is non-violent and does not relate to damage of life and properties of other citizens and is in accordance to the law. This is what the Supreme Court of India said. So what the lawmaker just spoke some time ago, it is actually against what the court said. Let me give you a few more points as to why farmers should be taken care of. Is because our agricultural land, our area under agriculture is reducing, is shrinking. Farmers are giving up their land. In 2010-2011, we had 159.5 million hectares of agricultural land, which has shrunk to 157 million hectares of agricultural land in 2015-2016 in a matter of 4 years. It has shrunk. Farmers are giving away their land. Now, farmers giving away their land means food produce is going to go down. That's number one. Number two, according to the census in 2011, the census of 2011 said 55% of the people were employed in agriculture. चलो 2011 census को रखते हैं साइड में. According to the Labor Bureau, 45% of people are engaged in agricultural employment. If the land is reduced, if the agricultural land is reduced, your unemployment rate is going to increase. So looking after the farmer is very, very important. You see, a lot of people ask us, "Arey yaar, why all the subsidies go to farmer? What does the middle class get? What does the rich class get?" There is a very interesting article written by a gentleman called Siraj Hussain in Indian Express. He is a former IAS officer and a subject matter expert. What he says is, an economic survey of 2014-15 devoted a section on subsidies enjoyed by the middle class and also the big industries. Middle class enjoys high interest rates on their savings. They enjoy income tax subsidies. They enjoy subsidies in the railway. They enjoy subsidies with electricity. They enjoy subsidies with LPG. They enjoy subsidies for higher education for their kids if their kids are put in government colleges. these subsidies the middle class enjoys. So it is not that the middle class doesn't get subsidy. Companies also enjoys protection, like productivity linked incentives, schemes for higher import tariffs, and regulatory tweaks that the government makes time to time to ensure that companies make more money. So it is not just the farmer that is given subsidy. It is not just the farmer that is given subsidy. Even middle class and companies, big companies are given subsidies. So you help big companies to make more money, which is fine because they have to make money so that they develop employment. I am not against that. The point that I am trying to make is this myth that only farmers are given subsidy is completely incorrect. And like I said before, I say now, it is not that the farmers have no tax and all that. The farmers pays tax for everything, most of the things that you pay tax to. The farmer pays GST for his biscuits. The farmer pays GST for his clothes. The farmer pays GST for his vehicle. The farmer pays the money, pays the tax. Now, most of the farmers do not earn an income. Where would they pay income tax from? And they say, in fact, according to this article by like I said, Siraj Hussain, he says that as per the ICRIER OECD report, despite the plethora of schemes run to support and subsidize Indian farmers because of regressive policies on the marketing side, both domestic and international trade policies, and the deficit of basic infrastructure for storage, transportation, etc., the Indian farmers suffer a net loss and thus emerged to be net taxed despite receiving subsidies. Between 2014 and 2016, Indian farmers were on average net taxed to the tune of 6%. Developed country and developing countries other than us give more subsidies to farmers. We are a country that gives less subsidies, actually speaking, to our farmers. So the point that I have been trying to make is farmers, agriculture is very important for our country. It is not just important to ensure that, that one is trying to be with the farmers and saying all that. That is not the point. The point is, if something goes wrong with the agricultural industry, it is going to have direct impact on you and me. It is going to impact our dining table. It is going to impact our youth. It is going to impact this country. Because not just food, this country will also lose jobs big time. There was this beautiful social experiment that was conducted in Brussels, in Belgium. I am told that it was conducted in a lot of cities in Europe, including Paris. But let's talk Brussels. This awesome experiment, I'm going to show you a 2-minute something film. Just see this film and then we talk about it.
Dag Fien. Dus gewoon. Ik zie een school tegen Antwerpen.
Ja,
Insecten.
dat blieft?
Ik voel 2 insecten op je rug. Kan dat?
Ja, vlinders.
Slovenie?
Zo hè.
Een moto. Oranje.
Pas erop.
Zenit.
Oui, bien.
Je hebt een vriendin. Julie de... Met wie?
Ja.
Een boeiend liefdesleven. 3, 4 zelfs.
Die vierde, daar zwijg ik meestal over, dus dat weten niet veel mensen.
Hoe is het met je spierscheur? Une maison rouge, balcon blanc. Ja. Ik zie geld, ik zie transacties. Maar kent je rekeningnummer van buiten? Ik denk dat ik het wel weet. Die staat wel negatief op je bankrekening.
Ja?
9-7. Last month, you spent €200 on alcohol. Vorige maand €300 aan kleding gespendeerd. 8.
Ja.
5. Voor een huis dat van eigenaar gaat veranderen. €295.000.
Ja, maar eigenlijk.
41.
Ja.
Is dat juist?
Ja, dat is juist. Oh my god. Oh nee. Ah, dat is, ik weet niet hoe eng.
How much of our lives we expose in social media? You see, a lot of us talk about how social media infringes our lives, how social media takes away our privacy. All that is fine, they do. There is no question about it, they do. But the question I want to ask is, how much do we do it voluntarily? We give away our lives to the rest of the world through Facebook or through WhatsApp or through that status report and this status report, so on and so forth. We expose our life to social media without knowing that people who see us may not necessarily be our friend. So the point is, while we volunteer to give our lives away, we also protest when you say WhatsApp is connecting with Facebook and they're breaching our privacy. All that is fine, that's right, that's absolutely correct. But I think the first lesson we need to learn is that we need to edit what we are trying to put on social media. Our anger, our frustration, our love life, our job problem, everything we tend to put on social media, and most of the problems nowadays are created because of this social media and what is said in social media. Most of the problems, relationship gets broken, friends of decades becomes enemies because of social media war. You support X party, I support Y party, you said this, you said that. Can you imagine? So, so the point that I'm trying to make is a small point I wanted to make at the end of my editorial is, while all that is fine, while we protest that WhatsApp is doing this and Facebook is doing that and all that, and that's fine too, like I said, it's right too, but also remember, somewhere down the line, we are equally responsible, because the biggest volunteer in this entire social media racket is us. We go and put everything on social media, and then possibly at some point we regret. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.